Sound.
Sweet.
Good evening. I'll open up this town council meeting for December 5th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Begin with roll call.
It's all you, Twyla.
Councilor Albert,
Here.
Councilor Kobe, Councilor Ward,
Here.
Councilor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Lunt,
Here.
Councilor Brunel,
Here.
and Councilor Rochelle.
Here.
Our first item on tonight's agenda is the inauguration of elected officials. Thank you for joining us tonight for Lisbon's 12th organizational meeting, which is held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in December. Are there any outgoing remarks at this time? We already made them at the last meeting.
Yeah, there was a lot of those, and I know we've summarized in here our accomplishments, so we'll take care of that later.
Okay. There were 2,083 ballots cast on November 7, resulting in the following candidates being elected into office. For council at large, Fern La Rochelle with 1,684 votes. For school committee, Ross Cunningham with 731 votes. And for water commission, Roger Bickford with 1,229 votes. Would Fern La Rochelle join me at the lectern to be sworn into office? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Fern La Rochelle,
I, Fern La Rochelle,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and will obey the laws
and will obey the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will,
that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
of the Charter
of the Charter
and ordinances
and ordinance
of the Town of Lisbon,
of the Town of Lisbon,
and will faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Town Council.
of Town Council.
Congratulations.
Get in the van, man. We're selling roses at the airport.
Don't get no now.
Would Ross Cunningham join me? for the lectern? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ross Cunningham,
I, Ross Cunningham,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and will obey the laws
and will obey the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will,
in all respects,
observe the provisions
of the Charter
and
ordinances
of the Town of Lisbon,
of the Town of Lisbon,
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
of school committee.
of school committee.
Congratulations.
Did we get pictures of those two? Get them to Diane. That would be awesome. I know that they put them out there. Thank you.
Okay. We will be postponing the oath of office for Roger Bickford for Water Commissioner, since we discovered that the Water Department's charter indicates that this office begins on July 1 and ends on June 30th. The next item of business is Order 2017-295, election of council chairman. Nominations are open.
Nominate Alan Ward for chairman.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations?
Chris Brunel is the vice chairman.
Oh, let's just do one right now. Are there any nominations for chairman? Are there any other nominations for chairman? Okay. Seeing none, then let's move to vote. All those in favor of Alan Ward for chairman? And all those opposed? And
Please, somebody say opposed.
Sorry, buddy, not that easy.
It's easy.
You
to
did too good of a job.
It's
Have it
easy
again.
it's easier for me to heckle from the side seat, so I don't have to keep the meeting flowing. That's what I appreciated Chris for last
Trying
year.
to put a wrapper on the top of
were
this.
there any abstentions for that? Did you vote yes or?
Oh,
He raised his hand like he
it's
can't
7-0, man. I like it when Larry says we never disagree.
Okay. Next, okay, so we have 7 votes in favor of Counselor Alan Ward for chairman. You have been duly elected chairman for the year. Order 2017-296, the election of vice chairman. Nomination?
Bruce Purnell.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Seeing none, all those in favor raise your hand. And opposed, and that order passes
Congratulations.
7-0.
Yes.
And away we go.
And duly-
Either we did something right or we're in store for something fun, right?
So-
That's it.
So congratulations
his
are in
job.
order as we
That's
head into a new year. At this time, we present the gavel to the chairman, Alan Ward, and thank you for attending the elected officials portion of our meeting.
And I still don't intend to use it.
Sure you do. Come on.
Say that now, you'll need it.
Right. You still have the floor.
I turned it right over to the chairman already.
Okay,
You're good to go.
So
Nick.
pick it up right where we left off.
absolutely. Next order of business.
Good news and recognition.
Absolutely. Does anybody have anything that they would like to share? Please, Ross. State your name.
Good evening, my name is Ross Cunningham. I'll fix that, there we go. Sorry, thanks. My name is Ross Cunningham, and I'm here on behalf of Positive Change Lisbon. For those folks who were involved on Saturday night, it was great to see you downtown. We had a wonderful, very merry Main Street celebration. We had, for the first time ever, 250 people walking around with cards, and we estimate closer to 400 people walking around downtown. We had 27 businesses involved, stamping cards, and it was just a phenomenal evening. I've got a paper I'll pass around that sort of shows some data, but folks like the fire department had 250 visitors, so almost everybody who had a card went to the fire department. Some of the outlying businesses had a little lower attendance, but everybody was thrilled that the evening went so well. It was really a fantastic community event. So I want to thank specifically the police department for the support on that. They escorted the parade down Main Street and blocked off the streets for us, and really want to thank them for that. Next, I want to talk real quickly about an event that PCL is having for business leaders in our community, and I'll pass around invitations, and I'm hoping you'll RSVP and join us. It's going to be December 14th at 5:30 at Daniel Buck's Auction House over here next to Big Dipper. Really, it's an opportunity for the town planner and the planning board to hear from the business leaders about where we want to be in 5 to 10 years. And it's a great opportunity, and we'd love to have you folks join us, so I will pass these around as well. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate your organization for putting that together. I know sitting at the last workshop on the comp plan, community feedback with business leaders was specifically addressed.
And we're hoping for a good turnout, so we should hopefully have upwards of 20, 30 businesses there, so it should be good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I turn on the camera. I know where I'm gonna be.
You're only a couple short, Ross.
Actually, I have one, so I'm all good.
I'm all set,
One
sir.
for you.
I saw it, and I already wrote.
We'll
Thank
save
you.
one for night.
Anybody else with any of the good news recognition wishing to speak before the council? Seeing none.
Mr. Chair, if I could?
Absolutely.
Just to kind of, we have a small community and little things actually get affected and noticed quite well. And I'm not sure who is responsible for it, but the big Christmas tree next to Exmont, if you notice, the lights were changed this year. It's amazing through the season how a lot of people comment on how lights are in the tree, whether it's, they call it a big spaceship or a whale or whatever. The lights were changed this year, and they're a little bit more traditional. I've had a few people say, wow, that's great. I'm glad that someone actually just updated them a little bit. So I think it just goes to show little things in community. People are paying attention. So whoever was responsible for the change, thank you.
Now that you mentioned that, I did see the bucket truck, and it was kind of cool. Anybody else? Seeing none, next item.
Public hearing to amend Chapter 50, Section 48, municipal parking lots.
I will open the public hearing on the subject. Anybody wishing to speak on behalf of this item, please step forward. Seeing no one, we'll close. Yes, absolutely.
My first time.
Pardon.
Talk
It's okay.
about parking on Main Street.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Just-
So I have lived on Main Street for almost 18 years.
Step up and say who you are,
Oh,
please.
I'm Amy McCain.
Okay.
Thank you.
And from midnight to 6 a.m., from November 1st to April 1st, I cannot park on the road. And that makes it hard for me because we have no snow most of the time. And I'm tired of it. We have a small driveway, and for many years I actually had to pay my neighbor across the street to park there. And it'd make it so much easier if just during the snowstorm, like most big cities do, we had a parking ban. I could find a place to park. So, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak on this subject? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, Twyla.
Okay. And the next public hearing is for a renewal special entertainment permit for the Coombs Mountford American Legion Post 158.
Anybody interested in speaking on behalf of this item, please step forward. Seeing none, I'll close. Twyla?
Next is a renewal special entertainment permit for the Slovak Catholic Association.
Anybody here on behalf of that item? Moving right along, we'll close that one.
The renewal automobile graveyard permits for Campbell's Used Auto Parts.
I see a couple representatives from the family.
All three of them. Once a year.
Rock, scissors, paper, shoot. Who loses? Anybody want to speak?
Yeah. Nope.
I didn't expect from that crowd either, too. We'll close the public hearing then.
And then the renewal automobile graveyard permit for Houston's Auto Salvage.
Anybody interested in speaking on behalf of Mr. Houston? Seeing none, we'll close that one as well.
Audience participation and response for agenda items.
Anybody wishing to speak before the council for anything that's actually on the agenda, please step forward at this time. Seeing no movement. Absolutely, Dot. Come right up, Dot. Come right up.
She doesn't want to get up.
You guys want to get up?
She-
You wouldn't know what to do without the Campbells.
Used auto parts, please.
Yeah, she just wanted to chime in.
Dot Fitzgerald, I don't know what us poor people would do without Campbell's used auto parts. I really don't. I mean, they're terrific.
Absolutely.
Used them a lot.
Thank you, Dot. Anybody else? Seeing none? Next item, 12.
Is a consent agenda. Any counselor wishing to have an item removed may do so now. Order 2017-297 to approve the municipal accounts payable and payroll warrants, number 60 for $56,799.56, number 61 for $3,237.31, number 62 for $5,062.06, number 63 for $395,518.04, number 64 for $176,190.30, number 65 for $16,726.13. The school account payable and payroll warrants, number 14 for $932.37, number 1030 for $13,025.22, number 1029 for $378,379.45, and number 1810 for $74,832.16, along with the November 14 workshop and the regular minutes, and the minutes of November 21, plus the renewal automobile graveyard permits for Campbell's Used Auto Parts and Houston's Auto Salvage, and the liquor licenses and special entertainment permits for the Coombs Mountford Post 158 and the Slovak Catholic Association.
That was a mouthful. I need a motion.
Wasn't sure when she, yeah, I was gonna say, I wasn't sure when she was coming up from breath. I'll second.
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Thank you, Twyla. Next item.
Under Council Orders, Ordinances, and Resolutions, Order 2017-298, the policy on treasurer's disbursement warrants for municipal employee wages, benefits, and state fees.
This is reaffirming the action we took last year to give flexibility for signatures. Anybody have reservations? If not, I entertain a motion to reconfirm what we did last year, to not have the hardship with getting the signatures that we need to be able to do the warrants.
I'll make the motion, more of the same works.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
7-0. Order passed, and this is for your signature.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2017-299, the policy on treasurer's disbursement warrants for school employee wages and benefits.
Same discussion, different subject on the school. This is where the issue was snagged, being able to do it, to get folks in. So it's again reaffirming what we did last year, to ease that situation and make it easier to coordinate between the two. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Thank you, Twyla.
Sign that. Order 2070-300, the council working rules.
I've shared with council over the course of our break after the last meeting, looking to make revisions to the attendance language associated with the council. If you can help me, Twyla, find the page, I know it specifically outlined what we're talking about for the change.
Somewhere around 49.
I had it written down too.
49. It begins on 49, and so it's on the back side of page 49. It says, attendance, failure to attend 3 consecutive meetings of the council without being excused by a vote of the council will result in forfeiture of office. Acceptable excuses include, without limitation, illness, vacation, and family emergencies.
The key elements that are coming from, I believe it was Wyndham's actual charter that you're seeing here, a variation of that, make it so the fact that instead of having the discretion underneath the fact is either the town manager or the town council chair, it actually be a vote that's there. So you make the case to the individual would actually move beyond. It's the unexcused absence to be able to do so, and it kind of follows what we have for rules with the committees.
So just to clarify, it's a voting piece is all it is, correct?
Right, we would actually vote if we choose to take action or not, and that'd be the way that it goes. With the non-excused, it sets a precedence, the fact is 3 non-excused in a row. Okay, that's the clarity here, not looking to make it heavy, it's just looking to actually make sure that it has got a little more latitude with what an excused absence would be, if you will.
Are there limits on excused absences?
No, no.
They said the council could choose to say, okay, we're gonna extend, if we don't want to. We're not forced to by the language.
The language says 3 unexcused, Mr. Crawford, absolutely. Because I don't want to.
I understand what this says.
The council can take a vote and say, we're gonna excuse you, even if you don't have a good reason, we're just gonna excuse you. I think that's how I'd
What
read
I'm
it.
asking is if there's a limit on excused absences.
No, there is not.
The difference is the council would be deciding if it's excused or not, rather than just the chair.
Yeah. To your point,
Yeah. There should be,
No,
and
there-
maybe we should look at that in the future.
Maximum of
Setting,
5 or 6. or
setting a threshold, I understand what you're
so,
saying.
right.
I think
Pressure on
that,
the council
I think,
to feel-
I think that in real world, best possible case scenario is that there would be no need to set a threshold, that somebody would take the position seriously. And the only time they would ever go in a position where they would be out for multiple, would be in a real crisis situation. Let's hope none of us ever get there to have to test that. But that would be, I hear where you're coming from. And I think I would want to reserve setting a threshold on something like that.
right.
But
And
I can understand why we visited this. I think we all had a pretty good understanding of how we got here. So I think it makes sense that there was an area of that part of our working rules that needed to be addressed.
And to be clear on that too, there was only one occasion over the entire course of last year where one person missed 3 meetings, period. So to setting a threshold, they were all excused absences based on the definition at that point in time. The unexcused, what you're talking about, didn't present itself to have to, I think, be addressed right now, would be my thought.
I'm open for anything. I'm not saying we shouldn't
But
revisit
if you have,
by
if you have an
law. Yeah,
amendment, by all means,
Right.
by all means. Because I believe it was Mr. Garrison that actually did the current version of this when
Yes.
he went through the overhaul. And the fact is, it's been intact for 4 years? I'm looking for the historians here.
Well, more, it's like several, but, yeah.
I'm trying to figure when, I know he wrote it, if you will, and it's been in play since.
At least 5 years back.
The only other change that I saw, and Diane made it, and it's not in the stuff we're seeing tonight, back on page 49, going back to 5-day work weeks.
Yes.
the intention of this was not to have a council packet going out on Thursday, but to make it the Friday to give the latitude. I'll use the example of recent, I'm not comfortable with things going out that actually are not in a final packet. It gives more time to be able to vet those kinds of things, so either in our mailbox or electronically, whichever. I know there's a variety of what people prefer. It gives staff one more day to be able to prepare what they want us to be acting on Tuesday night. Any other suggestions with content? Okay. If that's the case, I will entertain a motion
I'll
or
make
an
a motion.
amendment, either way.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion, sir? I know you had a concern, so I want to be able to.
I just think that if people have, if you have excused absences, not unexcused, excused,
Right.
I think they should be limited. Because if you're elected to a position, you should be there. And if you're not, maybe, you know, if you're excused for, 7, or you pick a number, then the council reviews it, looks at it, and talks to whoever they need to talk to, and figure out what to go from there.
What would you think would be a
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
number?
7
Consecutive? Is that what you're thinking, or just several?
Period.
within a calendar year, fiscal year, whatever you want to do. That'd be my suggestion.
So I say, in 4 years, there's only been one person that I've known, and 2 people, but, right.
Yeah, and it addresses the issue. So I would think that would be appropriate.
I think it's, 7's more than generous enough, and somebody who is having an issue would be able to go ahead and have discussions with the chair. If they had something that was more long-term, it was gonna take them out of the rotation.
Right.
So it looks like we're gonna back up because Chris is gonna wanna put in an amendment.
You say it like it's a bad thing.
No way,
No.
man. Not at
It
all.
just means we gotta make sure we're doing it in the right, so your amendment gets in.
That's it.
It's a valid point.
Correct.
So I would add, just a caveat there is, in addition, there should be a limit of 7 excused absences over the session term.
Over a 1-year term, or how would you do it?
Session. It runs from November to November.
Right.
I know that session is the way I would actually view it.
That seems fair.
And that's what I said, I know what I'm thinking here, I think it's the group that's actually the benefit associated with that, so what's important to all. I would agree with that.
So did I get it right? Limit of 7 excused absences over 1-year session?
Right.
Okay.
Mr.
And that
Chair,
was,
can I ask a question? Now with that being said, does the 7 trigger the idea of the council actually voting yea or nay? Or is that actually a 7, which is automatic at that point in time? The first thing we added in, it actually gave discretion to the council to actually discuss and vote. Does this actually, the 7 trigger the council to actually, or is that an automatic? I mean, I guess that's,
I heard discussion, I didn't hear a
Yeah.
vote there.
okay,
My suggestion would be that the council reviews it.
that's 7.
And
Any
say,
s- any 7 within
what's
the
going,
year.
what's the problem,
Okay.
you know?
I agree with that, yeah.
Agree.
I think, yeah, because I think that at 7, at that point, if that particular counselor has not had a discussion with the chair, the town manager, to discuss whatever it is that prevents them from being here, and they're just going off with the 7 excused absences and no real, then I think that certainly warrants the rest of the council having that discussion to say, hey, we're at this point, we need to get an understanding, a clearer picture of what's going on, that's preventing you from meeting your obligations. And then, go from there.
So add to that sentence something to the effect will trigger a council review.
Right,
Yeah.
council review.
Just like the 3,
Yeah.
same thing. It's not an automatic, you're out of here, but we're gonna try
Right.
for you.
You need a good
Right.
reason why.
Yeah.
Brother says, I got all that.
so limit of 7 excused absences over a 1-year session. I don't know, for council review, 1-year session to
Trigger a council review.
Trigger a council review, right?
okay, to trigger council review.
Now, are we operating outside of charter on this? Or
No, this is just the rules for the council,
Okay, rules,
which we
period.
have. It's more procedural, not
I
charter.
know that this is in the charter too as well.
Right,
That's
and
the
that's-
3. That's the 3.
Right.
I think the 3 is just for committee members.
Is it just for committee? It doesn't apply to council?
I couldn't find anything for council.
No.
Okay.
Frankly, I thought that was heavy-handed
Fine
too.
then.
And just, Mr.
For our
Chair,
goal-
if I may,
upcoming goals.
When Mr. Garrison, Council Garrison at the time had done it, there was actually, they realized that the idea of the council versus coming from selectmen wasn't that long of a process after, so the selectmen, when they went into council with very minimal rules. So, I mean, these rules were adapted, so yeah, as time goes on, I think it's more of a
Fine tuning.
fine tuning, there you go, yep. So,
Living and breathing set of rules.
there you go.
Discussion associated at the beginning of the meeting, Twyla just pointed out the fact that by adding our other business committee reports associated with that, we actually broke Wade that this is actually written. So she's gonna be putting it back in that order just for that reason, just to follow with what we actually have.
So do you have an amendment on the floor and it's been seconded?
I heard the amendment,
I'll second it.
And who made the amendment?
Mr. Crawford.
Okay, a limit of 7 excused absences over a 1-year session to trigger council review.
Correct.
Okay.
The two in the toolbox.
So, if you're voting, you have to vote on an amendment, then you vote on the main motion as amended.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to vote on the amendment.
I'll make that.
We'd vote.
Yeah, we have.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So, all in favor?
7-0? And then the main motion is amended?
All in favor?
Okay.
Thank you,
7-0
Twyla.
passed.
Thank you for clarification. Next item, Twyla.
Order 2017-301 to amend the Chapter 50, Section 48 municipal parking lots.
It's an ordinance, actually.
It is
On order.
ordinance. Sorry.
That's all right.
This is a roll call vote.
Correct. We talked about it. Does everybody know what we're talking about?
Chair, do you entertain a motion to actually have for discussion?
Absolutely.
You entertain a motion, just for discussion reasons, to actually take as written.
I need a second?
Second.
Mr. Chair,
Absolutely.
thank you for coming in. Did you leave?
She split.
Gone.
I think it is important, it's nice that someone comes to a public hearing and actually voices their opinion. It's easier here than it is down on Main Street during the day. It is actually a kind of an interesting question. I'm not sure at this point in time, I don't think there's anybody here that can answer the question of what actually happens, if it's a friendly reminder. I have seen just in the last short period of time, driving down Main Street early in the morning, like at 4 a.m., some paperwork on windows, so I wasn't sure if they were friendly reminders, but it is one of those things where if we actually go through a period without any severe weather, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I'd be interested in listening to council or for a description from the people that actually have to deal with it. Actually, if it is so much of a problem, I guess it's easy just to actually put it to that date, so that way there's no questions whether is the snow coming or how long the snow or for cleanup. I don't know. I guess it is a valid if you live on Main Street and you actually have an apartment house and you have small parking, whether or not you could actually use on-street parking. I'd just be kind of I'd be curious to find out what the, if we actually are ticketing people at this point in time, or if it's just a reminder, but.
I would agree with that in that regard because it's not a Main Street issue. My understanding is street side after that time frame. You get those same reminders in our neighborhood. And it is, as she talked about, my understanding is my son got one last year. My father now is actually parking his vehicle off the street and getting 3 in our driveway just for the same reasoning. Some people don't have the ability to be able to do it like we have. So I agree with you. If we could just revisit that with the chief, just to get a presentation, I think that's a prudent activity. You want to direct him to do so?
Sure.
Did you want to postpone the vote? Was that
No, that, this is a that actually isn't anything to do with what's here, but it's a secondary issue.
another
It-
issue.
Yeah, other issue with parking.
It's outside of.
Outside of the preview of the discussion that we're having right now.
She just brought the
Correct,
lights
this
up.
is a municipal parking lot, and it's not to do with the same thing as what she's referring to, but she took it upon herself to say, hey, I gotta come say something.
Absolutely. which I give
Raising a
credit
good
for.
question.
Correct.
Absolutely.
This is about something totally different from what we're talking about with her.
I would recommend going with the roll call vote for this item as written, but actually a directive associated, maybe revisiting that topic with our chief to be able to allow him discretion to be able to figure out what our best policy should be. That said, we have the motion. Roll call vote.
Okay. Counselor Albert?
Yes.
Counselor Crawford?
Yes.
Counselor LaRochelle?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
Yes.
Counselor Lunt?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor Copley?
Yes.
We have 7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
Next item, Paula?
Order 2017-302 to amend the fee schedule, municipal parking lots.
This basically does the same thing. If we're no longer actually selling parking passes, then we're removing it from the fee schedule. That's the lion's share of what's there. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second, with Cassie,
Who made the motion?
Mr. Crawford,
Thank you.
and that is a roll call vote too.
No.
No, it's a policy.
That's right.
rules.
Thank you. All in favor?
7-0. Order passed. Next item is other business. Council committee reports.
No news is good news from my side of the house.
Planning Board, Daniel Buck is the actual next meeting on the 14th, my understanding, correct? So they will be a party to that at his place, 7 p.m. is your time? Yes. And anything from the other that I missed that should be shared here, sir?
We didn't have a meeting last time, so
It was the workshop, and we talked about that.
we will either have a workshop or another meeting first of the month.
Okay.
So other than that, we have this.
And it is not on the agenda tonight, but it will be on the next under appointments. We have the 2 vacancies that we will be taking action on that. Can you make that note for Diane, please, Twile? We've been holding at least one of those for several months and the other one for at least 30 days now.
I just asked, I hope, I'm sure they will get notified that the action's gonna happen. So
Yes, I called in the past in that regard. I will do so as well. Water Department, sir.
We have somebody from the water department here. Would you mind, the water commission, would you mind giving a quick update?
Nothing really.
Nothing?
We do have Mill Street that is a go. That's it.
Address yourself. We have the public here.
That's right.
Like nobody, like everybody doesn't know me. Marie Hale, Water Commissioner. We do have the Mill Street project. MDOT has finally decided to move it forward. We hope to have it going in June. That's about the only thing. We're still gearing up for the Main Street and what MDOT wants to do with that. They are not in a big hurry.
Okay. The flushing?
The flushing is ongoing. I had no water pressure today at my house. So yes, it is ongoing. We are doing this end of town, the village area of town. So,
Thank you, Marie.
no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
LDC, sir.
So I've been saying for the last couple of meetings, got nothing new, but exciting things on the horizon. This is my opportunity to, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him before the meeting, but I'm going to put him on the spot right now. I would like to let folks know that when it comes to our next session here, now that Councilman LaRochelle is with us, I would like to ask him to become the liaison for LDC because I think he'd be fantastic at that. Has a much better, he's more tuned in and plugged in with those folks than maybe I have been. So if it's yours if you want it. Job's yours if you want it, my friend.
No, I plan on attending either way, so I'd be more than happy to.
Outstanding.
Gives you room to do one more, right?
I'll go do something else now. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Conservation?
I have nothing to report.
I did hear from Richard Main and that they'd hoped to have a representative here tonight to be able to update us on goings that they're looking for, invasive species and whatnot. So I will reach back out to Mr. Main, at least contact you or see if we can't actually get a report for the next meeting. Recreation?
I have to touch base with Mark to find out what went on with that grant and
Okay.
whatnot. I haven't had a chance to touch base
Okay.
with you.
County, there's nothing. It's a sitting thing until this time next year or September timeframe next year. Library, sir.
They had a very successful, very merry Main Street, and they had a lot of people stop into the library, and it was a good turnout there. And it's nice to have people from the library open for that night, and get new people in there who might not have normally gone in the library. So that went well.
Thank you, sir. Next item, Twyla.
Is to review the council's achievements.
It's page 61 in the packet. I put this together. It was outlined that Diane posed a question, and she got me in a philosophical moment. I know we started off with putting goals together, so I figured it'd actually be good to see how it plays out. Having had the opportunity last year to put similar dialogue into the town report for Twyla's purposes, I figured probably this should be the format of what you're looking at, so that would actually fit both pieces. Council action over last year is we secured $1.5 million in funding for the Bodenham Road, Gould Road, Summer Street. We allocated this past year $425,000 to do a list of roads, including Warren Circle, Hooden Road, Nason, Whitney, Madeline, Prince, Brook, Key Road, and authorized the paving of Capitol Avenue and the transfer station, road raise funding using MDOT favorable pricing. So road infrastructure was one of our priorities. Council, the start of this session last year, held workshops and budget meetings with department heads to improve communication and to listen to their needs. These meetings resulted in an improved budget and capital improvement plan. The fund balance policy was revised with Lydia's input last year to maintain the balance between fiscal responsibility and better use of resources to limit the budget pressures. As part of that process, there's $618,000 that's listed here that we actually were able to invest prior year savings funds, if you will, to not have to raise that on the tax base last year. The town council privatized the sidewalk plowing portion for a 5-year contract this coming year, taking, again, listening to the needs of the departments. That's a perfect example of the fact that our PW staff is geared up for winter operations, and at that point in time they're having issues just maintaining the plow routes. The additional pressure associated with the snow plowing wasn't able to give anywhere near the savings to the community, plus it created a hardship. I'll use the example with the school department, maintaining just the main drag associated with that. The pressures of that weren't conducive. We presented the information. This is a not popular one on social media as of right now, but if you read that, we obtained grant and funding approval for a $9 million infrastructure in our sewer infrastructure. 60-40 split with favorable pricing and interest rate on that makes the work much easier to swallow now with the increase to the rates that we had to do to be able to act that than it is to address a mandate by I'm sorry. What's that?
The DEP.
DEP, thank you.
Yeah.
Train of thought was totally spent there for a second. DEP actually coming in after the fact and mandating that we do these things and not having any assistance to be able to address those.
And paying a fine.
And paying the fine, and absolutely. Council awarded a contract for the downtown infrastructure park project for $370,000. That work is slated to begin in the spring. They modified the terms of the Kelly TIF agreement to put $1.1 million into infrastructure versus the economic development position in funding that department, if you will. Approved $124,000 in facade grants. And we welcomed this list of additional businesses, new businesses, relocated businesses, expanded businesses, you name it. It's meant to be a catch-all. A&C Transport, Bill Stevens Auto Sales and Body Shop, Frank's Place, the Gentleman's Quarter Barbershop, Lisbon local business listings, Northern Chai Martial Arts, Rogers Insurance, Sippy Cup Consignment, Summer Street Childcare, Atlas Chiropractic, Dimley Press, Haggerty Realty, Joe Kennedy, Tile and Stone, Legendary Status, O'Brien Property Services, Rusty's Lantern, Smiley's Ice Cream, Verizon IM Wireless, Chris's House, Domino's Pizza, Glidden Tax and Accounting, Kieran Transport, Main Family Legal, Oh My Stars, Painted Sign, Serenity Beauty and Spa, and Springwick Farms. If this is an incomplete list and I missed somebody, I apologize. It was meant to actually show that there are things going on locally. Council recommitted to the local dispatching after conducting workshops on the topic. The council is presently weighing all options related to Lisbon emergency. Thank you for coming, Chief. If you want the mic later when it's open, please do so, because it is one of the larger items that is a reality in this community, the fact that the future of the Lisbon EMS. So we are actively working on that topic right now. Town Council worked with Positive Change Lisbon and the Recreation Department on fundraising and construction of the Mitchell Joseph Breton Tuplin Playground at MTM. We established the Lisbon Community Garden Ad Hoc Committee. Council ordered a moratorium on marijuana establishments, retail stores, and retail marijuana social clubs. Council approved the new website, Virtual Tool Towns and Schools. Council accepted a $20,000 worth of various police equipment and homeland security grants. Council approved an ATV ordinance allowing the ATVs on designated roadways in Lisbon. Council changed the town hours back to an 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday arrangement, as well as made changes to the library hours until noon on Mondays. Council updated our disaster recovery plan with the assistance of our EMA director. Council is currently working with the planning board to update the comprehensive plan. Council good news and recognition in the following session is included the 2017 Unified Basketball State Champions, the Lisbon High School Cheerleader State Champions, Lisbon High School Baseball Class C Southern Regional Champions, LJL U12 Cal Ripken State Champions, the Twilight Clerk, the Ethlyn Stewart Martha Award, the Eugene Dagmar 100 Years presentation. And during this past year, we suffered the loss of William Bauer, Water Commissioner, Frank Anicetti, business leader, and Mr. Moxie, local celebrity, and Gina Mason, legislator, city school committee member, former town councilor, and Moxie community volunteer. It's been a busy year. Thank you. Anybody have anything else they would like to add?
Just that one thing that's not reflective of this is the fact that this is the second year of this now where I've seen our ability to work with the school committee and with the staff on both sides to make sure that we're all working together, rowing the boat in the same direction. There's definitely a lot more communication, and I think that was one of the major goals. And then out of that communication fostered some really good relationships. People are developing more transparent, I guess, resources. So there's no question about what's going on. And more importantly, they're looking to foster deeper relationships. How can we work together more? I've seen that with the school committee, the finance directors, both of those two getting together on a consistent basis. And then out of that has come together with the school committee and the town council working together. It makes the budgeting process a whole lot easier, because we still have to make tough decisions, but it's easier when everybody's got all their cards on the table and they're not worried about when the other shoe's going to drop. And I don't just mean school committee. I could say the same things about the public works department, same things about the police department. They came in here ready to work on those workshops and did a fantastic job, even going through some of the tougher line items. It was something that everybody knew what was going on. It wasn't a surprise. Nobody got an oh no moment. Everybody knew what was coming. Everybody knew what they had to do. So let's do more of the same this season.
Anybody else, please? If I had to keep going on accomplishments, go Lydia. You've heard us actually, it was about this time last year, you took a job in this community. And the fact is, we have not backed off you with getting the outside audit results that we were able to hear at our last meeting. You know, the accomplishments associated with that to be able to get our house in order and, you know, bridge the two organizations to have business partners. I know both sides are seeing it, so thank you again. Well, thank you. Go Lydia, as you would say.
That's right, go Lydia.
No, go right in the minutes.
Absolutely. Next item, Twyla.
Council goal settings.
This will be something that we actually get to more. The fact is, I contacted all you guys, as we talked about last year. We had a good goal coming in list, I should say. I'm interested in updating that to figure out what we want to be able to do, because I know last year the intent was, I don't care to sit in the seat and ride from budget season to budget season and then just occupy space between the two. I want to make sure that we're actually moving in a direction that we all like to see. So you've heard from me, you got what we're looking at right now. By all means, let me know what you're thinking. Anybody has anything they'd like to share on that, please feel free. It's an open discussion.
Chair, may I? The, and just to say, I mean, as myself and Chris was speaking earlier, it's, this council actually coming on at this point in time is much easier than the opportunity when I left the council, and Chris can probably, he jumped into Hornets, and that's when he actually got on, because it was, a lot of what Norm was talking about was actually happening at the time, and it's very nice to actually see a council that's been working well together and actually moving things forward. So actually, as a new member coming on, it's a much easier seat than before. Just kind of hide a little bit. One of the things that, and again, the list of goals, I think that's really crucial as we move forward, and a lot of the ones that you had mentioned, I think is stuff that's really made you guys move forward in the past. One of the things I'd like to add with that also is we actually have these committees reports. To me, the council is basically just an outreach of what the committees are. I would love to have the committees invite them to actually make goal settings themselves and actually come forward to the council with their year goals. Because I think as a council, we're here to support the committees, because that's the fingers of our community, right? They're the people in it. So if the rec department wants to come forward with goals this year and they actually have some outlines of where they want to go, I think that helps in two things. One, it actually helps us as a council working with committees, but also makes the committees feel that they actually have a goal. And what I found on committees is if you have a committee that just meets once a month and nothing happens, the committee usually falls apart. But if you have a committee that actually feels that they're having some type of backing behind them and actually has a goal they can reach for and achieve it, we've seen it with the rec committee with the playground. You know, that actually just really brings people together, and if they feel they can work and get something done. Nights are very valuable for a lot of us. We got families, so the idea of going one more night to another committee meeting is tough. But at the end of the day, if you feel that at the end of the time it's actually worthwhile, there was a few of us there when the playground was going on, sitting there digging, sweating. I mean, it's one of those things. At the end of the day, you actually felt pretty content that you actually were helping. I mean, and I think a lot of people feel that way if they feel that they're being backed by the community, and I think we're the ones that need to back that. So I think I would love to actually get all the committees that we represent and actually have them do a workshop together and come up with goals. And then as a council, I'd love to see us actually do what we can to actually make those goals happen, whether it's financial, maybe not always financial, maybe just support and give them the direction, the tools that they need. So that's one of the ones I'd like to add on there.
Well, I think it's a great one, sir, because you were in the back of my mind when I was having the conversation with Mr. Maine about the Conservation Committee. We have a public session every beginning and ending of every one of our meetings. The fact is, any one of these committees is welcome to actually bring it on and get it on our radar. So I encourage them to do so. So by all means, I think that's a great idea.
I think developing goals also gives, like you said, sense of purpose. You're driving on those goals, and sometimes when you hit the weeds and you only make an inch worth of progress, at least you can still measure your progress, so that when you get to the point where you can run a little bit and start making some real progress, you'll be able to look back and say, geez, there was a tough spot there, but when we drove through it, we were able to get to this point where now look where we are. Yeah. So it starts with I'll use the playground, it's the easiest one to go back to. A bunch of people just kind of brainstorming, and the next thing you know, this thing grows legs, and it's a reality. So pretty incredible stuff, and just I couldn't imagine get a bunch of passionate people together driving on the same goals. Only good things are going to happen.
Anybody else? Like I said, I know we're thinking here, so I think it's a group thing, so by all means, we can put it together. And I know it set what we put together for, if not meeting schedules, workshops within this goal setting. Some of them have certain timelines that are more conducive. You'll see the Moxie discussion. The fact is, I know we have a budget reality associated with that and a working crew here, so anything we're talking about, even conceptually, is year 2 out.
Right.
You know, so trying to put those in where we're going to go with that kind of discussion. You know,
Mr. Chair,
Absolutely.
the Lisbon EMS isn't 2 years out though, unfortunately, isn't.
No.
Sitting in the audience, that was actually a discussion that needed to be taken care of by the end of this year, right? Is that
Absolutely.
still actually ongoing in that urgency, or?
Yeah, I can give you an update on that, and I'm happy to. So I'll let you know that we met with, myself and Councilor Ward met with their board, Lisbon EMS's board, and we were able to go ahead and dispel some of the myth and the rumor that's out there, get to the heart of the matter. There was some concerns on both sides as we try to talk about what moving forward after an RFP, because there was an RFP that went out, and it came back, and there was two folks, Lisbon EMS and then United, and in looking at what the RFP called for and what United put out there, didn't meet the RFP. So we want to work with Lisbon Emergency. It's the obvious place where we're at. There's a couple of pieces that come with that, and so we're still working through those. But we came out of that meeting with setting some clear goals, letting them know what it is the council would be looking for involvement and oversight if we were going to make that sort of investment of taxpayer money. And at the same time, they wanted to understand, because they operate a pretty tight ship over there, and they have some consistent rules that they work by and abide by. Their members are the folks that run the show for their board, and they also have a budget committee that works well. So we got a lot of getting to know yous about the inner workings, and now we're just coming back to saying, hey, let's put together a reasonable, this is what we need if we're going to try to go down this road and help you guys out. And so I think the plan is for us to, once town manager comes back from her vacation, well deserved, we're going to all sit down and draft what it is that the council and the town would need for some sort of oversight. We'll submit that off to Lisbon EMS, and they can get a chance to live with it. We'll all come back together as part of that subcommittee and talk about what next steps look like. But there is a timeline on that, and they have operating funds. They're not in dire straits by any stretch. We don't have to worry about them buttoning up the doors on January 1, but we do need to go ahead and work with a sense of urgency and a sense of purpose around that. So, no problem.
Chief, why don't you echo on that too? As we talked in that meeting associated, that one of the things that we feel that we have failed as either on the council side or local EMS is educating the folks on the topic that's been heavy on your organization since July. So use the mic wisely, sir.
Jim McDonald, Chief of Lisbon EMS. I would like to thank the council in the workshop for all the time they put in. This has been quite a few meetings, and a lot of discussion between the two-party Lisbon Emergency and the town. What we need now is citizens in Lisbon to come forward and say, this is what I want from an ambulance service. I don't want to wait 20, 40 minutes for United to come to Lisbon. So my request to the citizens is please come forward, talk to a town council, come to a town meeting, and let your voice be known. They work for you, taxpayers, so give them your opinion. Please. And again,
Please.
thank you very much for all the time you have put into it. As a taxpayer, the goal we have set in the committee is to provide the same level of care or better care, which, again, as a taxpayer, I like to hear that. Public safety is very important.
Thank you, sir.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Next item, 12.
Is appointments, council committee assignments.
That same communication, everybody knows where everybody currently resides associated with that, but what I would like to hear, and I'll reach out to specific people, if you know you would actually like to be able to change assignments or moving around. I don't want to have somebody pigeonholed in one item if they'd like to get into something else too, because there's 7 people here. I think we can divide and conquer, because the intent here is to actually assist the boards and the committees that we represent by having their priorities have a voice here. So, anybody have any issue that they want to swap or anything else that they'd like to share now? If not, we can work it out.
Chair? may I?
Yes.
I would, without a doubt, be more than happy to take on the ones that Council Crafts was actually already doing, which was public safety. The Assessment Review Board and voter registration are all listed as ones he was doing. I also will do the, Lisbon Development Committee, so I'm not sure if that'll give you an opportunity to actually do more elsewhere. And it's really up to Chris. I mean, if you would like to, I do actually attend all the facility committees, so if you want, I can take that over, or you can actually join as a participating member. I don't mind, but I will be there anyways, so it's up to you whether or not you want to spare yourself from that, or actually just join along.
Am I next?
Go for it, sir.
Absolutely. Again, I have a scheduling issue on Mondays, and I spoke with the powers to be, and it didn't make any difference what I said, so yes.
Okay.
I had some communication with Councilor Crawford, and I'm not sure if it's feasible or not, but I spend a lot of time at the water department. I'm pretty sure if he's willing to step off from it, even though that meeting is held on it's not now, but it may be, it's not a conflict with me about going to a meeting, because if I can't make a meeting, I can always be briefed the next day. So, again, I'm not sure how the chat is read, but I'm pretty sure that what I read, I can be the liaisons to the water department. I can. So if you want to step off and step on something else, or if you want to continue to stay there,
You have Conservation Committee for me if you want.
again, we're just pushing stuff around.
Conservation Committee is one that actually is looking for a representative for sure.
Well, let's back up. First of all, I'm still talking with Chris.
Yeah, I heard yes.
Yeah, if
You're already in the van, man.
You're more than welcome to take that because, well, for obvious reasons. I don't think
Right.
that warrants much discussion.
There we go. That was easy enough. Do you have that, Twyla?
No, it's A-okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Alan. You want to move? You
No,
want to
no,
push
no.
around the room?
I'd like to hear from Mr. Lunt next.
I haven't been able to get to the Conservation Commission meetings mostly, because it's right before this meeting, and makes it difficult for me, but I can continue with the library.
Okay. What, you have class on Tuesday night, or is that just this semester, right?
It's this semester, yeah, which is only another week.
Okay. Any
Okay.
interest where you'd like to land, sir?
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll talk about that.
They're all pretty much taken.
No. That's not what I asked. Where would you?
Don't be afraid to say you want something from somebody else.
Where would you like to land, is what I asked.
Want to go to the library meetings?
The public safety. And, I think school committee. Public safety and school committee are probably my biggest interests.
Okay. Where's the facilities, schools facilities? I know I'm missing that. Right there.
Fourth one down.
It's got my name next to it at the moment.
School facility.
Front. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just
And if
making
Chris,
the
and if Chris wants to attend them meetings as well, I mean,
No,
I mean, to me, more than.
right, absolutely.
Can I, I,
School committee, not school facilities.
not facilities.
Right.
Okay,
Committee.
okay, school committee.
Norman, where Norman's sitting now, do you hear what Chris is asking for?
I did not. I will listen though now. Sorry.
I'm just saying, school committee is something I'd be interested in.
Right on. I think you jump on with me. I'm planning on, I plan on staying right now. Cassie and I were just talking about that. But if Chris wants in on that,
I think I don't have a problem putting 2.
that's what I'm saying. Right now, we have
At
a couple,
all.
we have a couple of different ones that, so just, I'm looking at Public Works. We have 2 alternates, but additionals with myself and Mark Lunt. So yeah, I think adding Chris on there, it gives us better
Chris, I think that's a
coverage in
good
case one of us has to be somewhere.
Right.
because right now Cassie and I are there. I've been going on the lion's share of the school committee ones, but I want to be more active in the recreation department ones, and they run the meetings the same
Same night.
night, same time. So if I got to pick, I usually pick the school committee one.
Okay.
Go to that. But yeah, so Chris, to answer your question, absolutely jump on.
Okay.
And kind of before you jump to her, I'm gonna jump in. I'd like to take care about your liaison spot, or at least be added on with you on the, not the commercial revolving loan, the recreation, that's what it was, recreation committee. Right now Cassie's on there.
Yep.
And Chris is on there, so if you just add me as well.
I got you.
All right, it'd be perfect. And I was gonna do public safety, but it sounds like there's a pretty good log jam there, so I'll stay out of the mix.
No, and I
Again,
got,
them don't happen very often.
Yeah.
yeah,
And there's already Chris and I on it.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, what else is up there? Appeals board's covered, got Chris there.
and you're still in the van on county commission, you know
Sure, yes.
that, right? To reiterate that one, to
Hey,
do anything on the
know.
public county, we need 12 active votes, and right now they're sitting 2 right here.
I wanna stay in LDC.
That's a big issue.
I wanna stay in LDC too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got no issue with that.
Because that way it's a lot easier for me to manage from a meetings perspective, because I know that Fern is the primary piece on there, and he can be at all of them, but if for some reason Fern needs to take a day off to go do something else, then he can say, hey, Norm, can you pick up the slack, and I can try to slide in. Plus, I'll try to make some of those meetings. It's important to me. So, that's it. That's all I got.
Me?
Yep. Since you took your spot.
Where I'm content wherever
No,
I'm at already.
Same question I asked Mr. Crawford, though. Where do you want to land? I don't mind doubling up associated with that. What are your interests? So,
Where I'm at
okay,
already.
so you're good.
And now that I have a new career. it
What is the
opens
new
up-
career, by the way? You're so suspicious on
I'm so
things.
suspicious. I'm going to start working at a commercial lending company.
Out of where?
Out of, well, they're out of Auburn, but the building had a flood, so we're now in Lewiston.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
My evenings are now open.
So I will clean this up, put it together to make sure that what I heard is what we actually do for assignments, and then once I get blessing on that, I'll get it off to you and Diane Twile.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
There are
We still-
permits
no,
that everybody
so-
signed.
we still heard nothing on, no conservation. I clearly, that's the one vacant.
Alright.
And I know we stuck Mr. Lunt there, but that's not really working for scheduling.
I can try, but I just can't guarantee that I can get there.
Should have been 4 signatures.
We'll find a way to be able to figure that one out, and that's the one gap right now. Okay, we're good. Thank you, 12. Next item.
Counselor Communications?
Anybody got anything? I had it, and it was a perfect opportunity because he was sitting here, so we already worked him in, so thank you.
Just another successful event on Main Street this weekend. Nice work to all those involved.
Anybody else? Moving right along, 12.
Audience participation for new items.
Anybody got anything that they're wishing to actually share for the council for a future? Seeing none? Moving right on.
There's no executive session. Order 2017-304 to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
You beat me.
That was his goal. You
I
can see
know.
that. Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming.
I got a
Whole year.
powerful, powerful. It's very strong.
You were dead on.
8 o'clock.
Saw that. Sharpshoot.
Yeah, no one
Sharpshoot
figured
on
that
that.
Certainly as much.
Sharpshoot on that.
Well, that's it. I mean, some of the things actually.
In a whole year's time, you beat me.
That was a first.
Yeah, that's a goal, but I mean, it's